like a muck cart after the Lord Mayor's show, really. Thinking of muck carts, we're talking about the Crown Estate. When I got a telephone call saying the Crown Estate want to sell off the blocks of flats. And I said, you what? And then I got in touch with the chair of our Crown Estate Residents Association, and we had a talk about what was going on, and then Meg Hillier and myself went to see Mr. Paul Clark, he who masterminded the sell-off of the Church Commissioners' properties in South London. And we didn't get very far. And then we managed to, well, I didn't, but the campaign managed to lay hands on the minutes of the Crown Estate Commissioners' board meetings. This was under the Freedom of Information Act, and they're obviously desperately keen for you to know all the background to what's going on, because I just happen to have them with me. In the interests of freedom of information, that's page 4. There isn't a single word that isn't wiped out. That's page 7. You know, this is part of their consultation process, and it really has been a scandal as the consultation process. How can you consult somebody about the future of their homes without saying who you intend the new landlord to be? But that's what they've done. They won't tell the MPs, they won't tell anybody, but they've been inviting all sorts of dodgy outfits in to look around your homes and see what value they might place on them. And talking of value, they want to raise some money. Well, they want to raise some money, I understand, because some of their investments in Regent Street and other places haven't gone very well. Well, I don't think that people who are happily living on the 4 Crown Estates should have their homes sold off just because of some incompetent property speculation by the people in this building here. I mean, it's not a bad spot, is it? How much did they pay for that? Maybe they could sell that off if they're short of money. You know, it's a really humble, frugal place they've got here, isn't it? But they've got all that money to either buy or rent this place, but they haven't got enough to not want to sell off your homes, and I think that that's wrong. But to be fair to the members of the board of the commission, I personally think they've been misled by the officials, because in the documents that we, you know, the bits they didn't manage to cross out, we discover they're saying it's not typical for a social landlord to have street properties and blocks of flats in London. Well, I don't know a social landlord in London that doesn't have street properties and blocks of flats. All councils do, all housing associations do, and they do, and there's nothing novel about that. They were also told they were too small, they didn't have a critical mass of tenants. Well, they've got a really bloody critical mass of tenants at the moment, I'll tell you, because nobody else is supporting them. But they were saying we're too small to do the job properly. Well, all I can say is they do the job properly, and they are small, and some of these huge housing associations that I've got to deal with in my constituency could learn a lot of lessons on how to run an estate properly from the Crown Estate. And they suggested it was typical that housing associations had 50,000 tenants. Then we found out that of the 1,400, well, I still call them housing associations myself because I can't keep, I don't know what they're called this week. They're still registered social landlords, but from the 1st of April they're going to be called something else, and I just can't keep up with it, I'm afraid. But of the 1,400 of them, there's only 400 of them have got more than 1,000 tenants. and the Crown Estate have got 1,500 tenants, and they do a good job. So they were misled there. I think that the members of the board were misled by the suggestion that somehow the Crown Estate were following the normal consultation procedure. They're not following the normal consultation procedure, and of course, as you know, if you were with a council or with a housing association and you were going to be sold off, there would have to be a ballot. That's what there would have to be. And they've refused to have a ballot. Well, they can't be doing it on grounds of expense, because the Electoral Reform Society say they can do a thoroughly good independent ballot of all the tenants for £2,400 or £2,500. What we know is this false consultation they've been carrying out up to now has cost them at least £54,000. So they're wasting money on that as well. So the only other thing I really ought to say is I really do want to congratulate the people from the 4 associations who've worked together and done an absolutely brilliant job. And I know that none of the others involved will mind if I say that Madeline in particular has done a most wonderful job for you. I thought I was quite good at producing briefings. But when she sent me her draft, I think I suggested about 3 words should be changed. It has been a really magnificent effort, and I think it is an example of what can be done and how we should go about things, because you hardly achieve anything on your own being selfish, looking after number one. For most people who are not actually stinking rich because they have been selfish and looking after number one, apart from them, most of us, if we're going to look after ourselves, if we're going to help ourselves, we've got to help other people, we've got to work together to produce it. That's what you've been doing, and I've been glad to have played a bit of a part in this. I'm proud to have played a bit of a part in it, and I hope to hell we win. But there's always one lesson here. If you don't fight them, you lose. If you do fight them, you stand a chance of winning. I think we stand a chance of winning. I think there's been a magnificent campaign up to now, and quite frankly, it will be a bloody disgrace for the Crown Estate if they don't abandon this stupid, rotten, backward and dangerous idea. Thank you.